congestion is hitting really hard right now.
Because of this thing.
Partly because of that thing.
What do you have to say to them?
I hope that actually... I heard it, but I'm not sure if... All right, get him down. Pay attention. Focus up.
It's hard to with a dog.
He was asleep next to you.
He likes... Yeah, I know, but you like to mess with them. It's the point of a dog. Fuck around with them.
You're congested too.
Yeah. Got a head cold.
Then he gave it to me.
Yeah. I did. So what's new? What's happening?
Are we really going to do this right now?
Yeah. We watched Inside Out 2. That was cool.
It was the same movie. Well, it wasn't the same movie, but it had the same message.
Yeah. I was very confused. Partway through it, just went, didn't we already do this? Did we learn this lesson? I thought we did this already.
Yeah, but they didn't kill any imaginary friends in this one.
Spoiler. I guess not.
Not a spoiler.
Not really. You're saying they didn't kill anyone.
Yeah.
Anxiety's scary.
True. That's a true statement.
On multiple levels. But yeah, anxiety was intense.
The play on words was good.
I think my favorite was Henri.
Ennui.
That's what I said.
It sounds like you're saying Henri.
Oh, maybe.
Henri.
Ennui.
Ennui.
I liked her. I like that she was just always like this.
Yeah.
I wish my hair was down. What you call it? Bill down.
On the phone.
Yeah. All right. A one, a two. How do we do it? This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape. Hello. Welcome back to episode 210 or episode 2 of this year's spooky season. I'm Tommy. That's Jacob. This is TJ's mixtape. That's a burp. We are a movie review podcast. We talk about movies, how they are made, who made them, who's in them, and then kind of talk about the themes, plot, so on and so forth, and give it a rating at the end. The rating is arbitrary, but it's just fun to go ahead and end it off that way. First time listening to us, we every October like to do the spooky season. So we pick a theme for some horror movies, and we kind of then pick 4 movies and kind of do a whole block of them. And this time we decided to do ghost stories.
Yeah.
Specifically.
We've done a lot of different genres now that I think about it.
So last week we did The Frighteners, and then...
That was fun.
What are we doing today?
The Others.
Are they all the...
They're all the...
Yes! Yes! All of them? All 4?
All of them.
I'm so happy that happened by accident. It's not crazy because they're horror movies and there's a lot of The Strangers, The Others, The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, that is The Sixth Sense, isn't it?
Yeah, we call it Sixth Sense, but it's The Sixth Sense. So on and so forth. You know. The Collector, The Collection, The Saw.
Nope. The Jeepers Creepers.
Just start, there you go. Just start adding the to the Paranormal Activity. Is it the Paranormal Activity?
It is the... Oh, no, it isn't. It's just Paranormal Activity.
I was like, wait a minute. That sounds pretty right. The Exorcist.
The Nightmare on Elm Street. I think it is.
The Possession of Emily Rose.
It's the Exorcism of Emily.
Oh, the Exorcism of Emily Rose?
Yeah.
Okay. But anyways, yeah. I totally got derailed by the thing. Sorry. For those of you who don't know, The Others, a quick little synopsis of it. In 1945, a family discovers that unseen intruders have infiltrated their large island home.
Is it still 1945?
We're not starting off with that. We're going to get to that. But hold on to that for the end there.
Like, slow down there, bucko.
I will start off the top here with also... Okay, well, let's do... We haven't done this, I feel like, in a minute. Did you like it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. If this is something that you have heard of and you're interested in, stop listening because there is...
Like, if you don't know anything about it.
If you don't know anything about it, then this episode isn't for you because there is a lot of twists and turns. It is a mystery ghost story that you're trying to figure out what is going on in this house. So we will be talking a lot about how we feel about the ending, which obviously will have spoilers. So thank you for listening. If you're interested, go watch it and then come back. Otherwise, here we go. That's your warning.
Scream it. Scream it. Scream it out. Tell them what it is.
I think that people.
Pretty much.
Yes, The Others released initially in the United States on August 10th, 2001, and then later on it's September 7th in Spain in 2001. So this is pretty old now.
It did have its premiere August 2nd, and I was looking at just like box office. Domestically, it was 21, and then worldwide, it was number 18. This actually had since the writer and director, is Alejandro Amenábar. It has more of a foreign market because he's more of like a Spanish, Chilean director.
That's Spanish Chilean director.
Yeah, film director, film artist, film person,
and composer who also does all the music for.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't catch that at all. Interesting.
He does. I think he does. I think it's at least majority of his films he does the music for.
Well, we briefly mentioned him a while back with Vanilla Sky because he did Open Your Eyes.
Oh my God, he did.
Abre los ojos.
Funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny that Tom Cruise producing credit makes a lot more sense now. Besides just interesting.
Yeah. So we have technically done a thing of like his idea before.
Yeah.
But Vanilla Sky, was, it kind of manipulated and changed a little bit for American audiences.
Yeah. I didn't catch that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, look at that. Yeah, we reviewed Vanilla Sky a while back.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing a reality, right?
It was
simulation.
Simulation.
Yeah.
And then he also directed and wrote most of the stuff that he directs. He's generally written as well. But Academy Award winning for best foreign film, The Sea Inside, starring Javier Bardem.
I want to watch that. Put that on my list. Well, I mean, even then, from the numbers and the main source, the numbers I looked at, $17 million budget, and it grossed $210 million. So this was
Wait, The Others?
Yeah.
Oh,
made a lot of money.
Nicole, it's like it's still kind of peak Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
Like her name can carry a film really bad.
Well, yeah,
really
but
well,
I still think it's, I'm just saying the absolute mass income for such a quiet movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, wow, cool. All right.
That's the worldwide, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's also Alejandro being the big in Spain and whatnot. There was probably just a lot of people like, yeah, let's watch the new Alejandro movie,
Yeah. Well, then I think also coming off, because I watched the trailer for it, and I think that a big push to, and I really want to steer clear of this, but a big thing I think is that they were kind of banking on the popularity of Sixth Sense, because even the trailer to me felt like.
I see what you're saying. Like the studio wanted to kind of push it, and like it's the new kind of Sixth Sense.
And I think that a lot of people probably went in thinking it was that, and I don't think they're wrong to think that, but I think at the end of the day, it's very different in what it's talking about.
Well, the trailer definitely leads a lot more in like the haunting of it all, and like there's this they spoiled that scene of the girl being whatever with the old woman and whatnot, But I mean, that still kind of captures an essence of what the movie is, but without giving away what it truly is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, because the whole idea of a trailer is to put butts in seats and give an idea what you're about to watch, not give it all away and not mislead.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. I feel like
I don't think it was misleading at all.
I kind of do.
I think it
because this isn't really. This is such a quiet Gothic haunting story.
Yeah.
there's actually really not a whole lot of haunting happening.
Yeah, but if
not
you were,
like The Sixth Sense.
if you were to make a trailer that was just like quiet and like, oh, close door, I'm angry now, close door. That's not interesting.
I know. Okay, I know. I'm not just saying that.
I guess what I'm saying is like they're like every trailer is going to be slightly misleading because it's trying to make it seem more exciting than it actually is.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Well, my point is that the trailer. I think people go in thinking this is more like Sixth Sense than it actually is, and even with the reviews in it, a lot of people were correlating the two, and I don't think that's fair. That's my point.
I mean, that's totally fair because also when I went and saw it, I wasn't comparing it to Sixth Sense at all.
Yeah, a lot of the critics were comparing it to that, and I was like, nah, you can't though. I mean, it's hard not to, but
Sixth Sense was 2000 or 99? 99.
99.
Yeah.
I was like, you can't. It's like just because they're both.
Just because the last big ghost story.
Yeah, it's like it's a different thing.
Yeah,
it's a different time period. It's not at that time. It's not current. It's a period piece. It's
so much is different.
Yeah, and even if you want to go down to it's a male lead versus a female lead with a.
There's only one thing, and that's the spoiler at the end of that.
And ghosts.
Yeah.
Ghosts are involved in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really think the comparison's there, but I just noticed a lot of people are doing that. And then watching the trailer, I was like, I think that's why they're doing it.
Yeah.
But yes. How many movies do you see this year?
I had counted like 42.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's 47. God damn, Harry Potter 1 came out.
Was it Sorcerers? I thought it was.
It was Sorcerers.
They came out the same year as Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just didn't realize.
It's a Chamber of Secrets. That's the second one.
Yes. Slippery little snake.
Slippery little snake.
Slippery little snake. Killing those muggle-born. Well, attempting, I guess. I guess he didn't do it.
So who's in this movie?
Nicole Kidman, who we talked about in episode 202, I think.
Oh, yeah. Golden Compass.
Golden Compass. Nicole Kidman, tall, blonde, Australian lady. I don't know. Moulin Rouge, which is actually probably one of the few musicals that I really, really actually wholeheartedly enjoy. Have good association with it. And I just really... I
think the last time I brought up Moulin Rouge, used it. Whoa.
No.
I think so.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I can pull up Golden Compass.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Anywho, and then Eyes Wide Shut, which I guess you're not really a big Stanley Kubrick guy like I am. So
no, not really. I think credit where credit's due, but I'm like, ugh.
I mean, just actually really quick side tangent. How much Stanley Kubrick have you watched?
I don't know. I'd have to look up his list.
Which I can do. I mean, you've seen The Shining, obviously. Mm-hmm. 2001: Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
Okay. Lolita.
Yes.
The black and white one?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't know that was Kubrick.
That was Kubrick, yep. Dr. Strangelove and How I Learned to Love the Bomb.
Parts of it.
Okay.
That's one I really want to watch because I liked what I saw of it.
That's one actually I haven't seen all the way through as well.
Okay.
You probably haven't seen The Big Score. That's like his first one from like the 40s.
I think I've seen enough to have an opinion.
Yeah.
And I just...
Eyes Wide Shut was his last film.
I forgot he died.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay.
He's old. He was like 80 when he did Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Batman Forever. Nicole Kidman.
Oh, yeah.
I guess more recently, North... The two that stood out to me was Northman, which I still want to watch, or The Northmen. And she's Aquaman's mom.
Yes. Who do you have next on your list? I put Mrs. Miller.
I did too.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, there really are only two main characters to me, and that's Nicole and what's her name? How do you say it?
Fionulla Flannigan.
Yeah, because she's like our guardian. She's our guide into this whole thing.
She's almost presented as the antagonist in a weird way.
Which she is, depending on how you look at it.
It's like this weird back and forth between is she the antagonist or the protector, and is Nicole Kidman, the mother, the antagonist, and whatnot. But also, I do want to say the children are just as much leads in this story as Mrs. Miller is too, because it's more about what's happening to the family.
Yeah, but I just the children are kind of stuck in this confine of the children because we're really following Nicole, or what's her name? Grace. We're following Grace around and kind of really participating in her delusion and mental illness on things.
Yeah.
That the trauma that she has brought over with her, that then she is then projecting onto the children, and then they're reacting to her trauma. You know what I mean? That makes sense?
I mean, Grace, Nicole Kidman, is the driving force of this movie.
Which I thought she was great.
Oh, absolutely fantastic.
God, she has got a stick up her ass in this movie. She's very rigid, and then when she goes off, she goes off. Like many tightly wound people.
I thought you were going to say tightly wound white women.
But let's just do Fionulla
Flannigan.
I wrote down, you might know her from...
I just wrote Irish English actress.
Oh.
That's all I wrote.
I mean, I remembered her from Yes Man. She is the one that wants to sleep with Jim Carrey, his older next door neighbor. She's the mom.
Really?
Yeah. She gives him
I don't really remember that movie.
She gives him a blowjob with her dentures out.
She offers it and he can't say no.
Yeah, and then he's like, she's like putting him on the bed. And it's just like from him here up, and there's like something going on, and he's like, okay, and then you just see teeth go into the jar of water next to the bed, and he's like, oh my god, and then it starts happening. He's like, how are you doing that? It's actually pretty graphic for that movie. It's such a bizarre movie. Liar Liar 2.0. And then I just wrote down Invention of Lying, which Ricky Gervais.
I don't remember her in that as well. I remember that movie, but I don't remember her.
And then she's in this movie that I added to our list, Walking Ned Devine.
Oh,
Devine,
yeah.
Which sounded cool. Small town, guy wins lottery in small town, dies, and then all of the other members of the town are trying to claim the money.
It's like a dark comedy.
Yeah, 1997 kind of seems slapsticky dark comedy. And it sounds very up our alley. Yeah. And the cast is great, too. So I added that to the list of future endeavors. Who'd you have next? Did you have the kids?
I have the kids next, yeah.
Okay. So...
Who I literally didn't put anything they were in.
Well, because they're in like 3 things.
Yeah. And it was like TV-made movie stuff.
Yeah.
So we have Alakina Mann, who plays Anne. And yeah, she had like 2 other acting credits, like kids' TV movies. And then James Bentley, who plays Nicholas.
Who looked really familiar to me.
He almost looks like the kid from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Almost.
Oh, he's in He's in an episode of The Defenders.
What's The Defenders?
If I remember correctly, it's like a British... Oh, yeah, okay. So it's not British, though. Oh, I thought it was English. It's a defense attorney show.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was something else, but anyways.
I mean, there's a bad knockoff movie of the Avengers called The Defenders, I want to say. Oh, wait, no. What were they called on Netflix? What was theirs? That was The Defenders, wasn't it? No, they were with Luke Cage and
the
Defenders. Okay, then what was the other one I saw? Anyhow,
your stuff is working. We just went dead quiet there.
So I'm also like I feel myself working through a cloud right now. Just so you know, like I can feel my congestion and everything. Like I'm legit sick. I'm feeling it now.
Well, get it together.
No, give me peace. Sorry.
I guess the next one would be Christopher
Eccleston. Yeah, who I always thought for the life of me. Looking back at this movie, maybe it's Mandela effect, parallel dimension thing. I always thought it was Viggo Mortensen was the dad.
I thought you were gonna say what's his name, Voldemort.
Voldemort? Oh, Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah.
Fiennes.
I can see that.
I can see that too. Yeah.
I really wish we gotta figure out our image sharing thing. Because I would like this picture right now. I would just like to send it to you and be like that. Look like that guy.
Yeah. But Christopher Eccleston, he was the 9th Doctor. Yeah, Doctor Who.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. I have no
The
idea.
ninth Doctor. Only one season. When in the early 2000s they rebooted all of it again. He was the Doctor before David Tennant did it for a couple of seasons.
That's the only Doctor I know.
Matt Smith. That's House of Dragon. Damon.
Oh, the uncle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I know that one too.
I'm drawing blanks on names. And then also he's the main bad guy, the Dark Elf in the Dark World of Thor: The Dark World.
I've still never seen that one.
The only thing it really gives you is the red substance that becomes the an Infinity Stone. I forget which Infinity Stone it is.
I've seen clips of it, and visually it looks cool.
Yeah, it just has, like, as a villain, the Dark Elf doesn't really have much screen time or depth. And it's just like, I must have the power.
That's a lot of them, though.
Yeah, I know. But, you know. And then, like, the storyline between, like, Loki and Thor is just kind of, it's just not a very well done movie. It was rated the worst Marvel movie up until Internals.
Up until Internals. Okay, it sounded like you said up until Turtles.
No, up until Eternals.
Fuck?
Yeah, I'm stuffed up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but then other stuff came out and it was worse.
Yeah,
It's the beautiful thing about this medium that we love.
I know. I think
changing.
Ant-Man Quantum Media might hold the bar for the worst now.
That'd be kind of interesting to watch that evolution of. That should tell you something, guys.
Right.
Marvel people. Is that pretty much everyone? Oh, Eric Sykes, who plays Mr. Tuttle, who's our groundskeeper. He's one of our also guides. And then Elaine Cassidy, who plays Lydia, who's part of that same troop of spiritual leaders.
It's a weird way to put it.
That's why I said it like that. All right. So, that was casting. So, yeah, like we said, the main thing of this movie is the driving force that is Nicole Kidman and her. She's got a lot of alone screen time and reaction bits to what is happening around her.
Yes.
And she's pretty great, I will say, in this.
She's absolutely fantastic.
For what the vessel of the movie is, she is delivering her part on the emotional response.
I remember thinking a little bit in the, like, at some point in the movie, is like, it's a lot as an actor to, like, to put on your shoulders, to, like, you are going to be carrying this film. Like, your performance is.
Yeah, because you're not reacting. You're reacting to the room. You're not reacting to the person or interacting with, rather. Scores?
IMDb has this at a 7.6. Whoa. And then Rotten Tomatoes, we got an 84% tomato meter, so favorably by critics, it looks like. And then its popcorn score, not audience score anymore, is 77%. So mid to high.
Mid to high. Metacritic has a 74, which comes as generally favorable, with 23 positive reviews, 5 mixed, and 1 negative.
What was the number, sorry?
23 plus.
No. Like Metacritic score.
Oh, 74.
74? Okay.
This comes to generally favorable.
Yeah.
Giving it a 90. Kenneth Turan at the Los Angeles Times. Though Kidman doesn't hesitate to make Grace high-strung and as tightly wound as they come, she also projects vulnerability and courage when they are called for. It's an intense, involving performance, and it dominates and energizes a film that would be lost without it.
Yeah.
And going down. Wait.
It was like that was an expanded thing of me saying she did a good job carrying the film.
I actually didn't even look for if Roger Ebert is on here. Okay.
Nothing from him?
No, there is. Roger Ebert gave it a 63, and drawing out his effects, Amenábar is a little too confident that style can substitute for substance. As our suspense was supposed to be building, our impatience was outstripping it.
Okay.
For our mixed with a 60 by Ella Taylor at LA Weekly, isn't much more than a proficient gothic mystery with a final twist that offers a satisfying little frisson before you start counting how many times it's been used before. Which I was like, I can think of one off the top of my head.
Yeah. I'm really curious about what twist she's thinking, though, then, you know.
I see dead people.
Or I think it was just the not just them being dead type thing, but like the some of the people you see, oh, they are dead actually, which that's kind of a common trope, you know. What else you got?
The negative was 38 by Lou Lemenick at New York Post. What Amenábar offers here is a unconvincing, pretentiously artsy pastiche of just about every hoary old gothic thriller you can think of. So, long story short, it's circle jerks, self-fulfilling piece of ego-driven garbage, basically. I guess is how I took it.
Yeah, that's kind of what he's saying, and I disagree with that very much.
Yeah, I don't really.
It's like Alejandro did something to him.
Yeah, it felt personal.
Yeah. Yeah, or?
No. I was just thinking. All right, so to kind of get into the meat and potatoes of said movie, yes. Basically, this movie takes place in 1945 after the Second World War has ended. We meet our mother, Grace, and her two children, Nicholas and Anne, who are living on the Jersey Island. And they... Which is
an island off the coast of France.
Yes. Which...
Not Jersey.
I'm not... Yeah, not New Jersey. No. The self... Well, we read about it, and I can't... The self-governed...
The politics of the island mean nothing to this story.
No, but it is a self-governed island under the crown, basically.
Yeah.
It does its own thing, and has its own legislation system, its own country. Does its own thing. It has an elected king, but they fall under the protection of the crown. And on this island, we meet our mother Anne and her two children, who are living in this big, creepy house all alone, awaiting news of the husband who went off to fight in the war.
Yes.
We are presumed dead. And then things start to get a little dicey when 3 new servants show up to help with the house.
Yeah, because there are none. It was a week ago, all the servants disappeared.
They disappeared into the night. So yeah, then it would be 1945.
But does time exist in that way?
Right. So... I guess just off the bat, the big elephant in the room is this whole movie. You think that the house is haunted or possessed or whatever it might be, and lo and behold, that in fact that Nicole, the servants, and the children, so Grace and her children, are all in fact
they've been dead the whole time.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were going to exclaim something or you were going to sneeze. Your face was confusing. So yeah,
they've been dead the whole time.
So that's what we mean about the whole Sixth Sense association with it.
Well, and the big thing, they don't know they're dead, and that's a big thing as well. Where I can see the
Bruce Willis,
the connection to Sixth Sense, because Bruce Willis continuing to do his job while dead, unknowingly dead.
Yes,
fucking. There's a.
I mean, that's the saving point, I think, too, that would, in a sense, make writing-wise Sixth Sense a better movie, only in the way of the way they wrote him interacting with the living in such a way, like going to dinner with his wife and thinking they're just in this rough spot, and lo and behold, she can't fucking see him. This is also one of those kind of movies where it's kind of like Fight Club, Sixth Sense, where it's really interesting to go back and watch it again knowing this information.
Yeah.
Because it made it way creepier to me. Because the servants know, and they're kind of just like, you know, don't want to put her into shock and kind of want to let her come to the realization naturally and kind of, you know, more fluidly. And so watching her going around and having these freakouts, she's a poltergeist. She's going around and slamming doors and closing curtains.
She's an angry ghost.
And to think of it as from the perspective of the family living there, it's really, really cool. Because what you're doing is you're watching a horror movie but from the ghost's perspective.
Yeah.
So it's like you can almost sit there and you can watch both movies in your brain. When she's doing this, you can imagine what the living family is seeing and doing in response.
Well, it's like
cool.
after the seance at the end of the movie, the the mother of the house, you know, who's Catelyn Stark in Game of Thrones, she's just kind of like, the dad's just like, well, now we've kind of made peace with them, right? Like, what's going on? It's okay. And she's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Victor can't sleep because the kid is in her bed. This woman got possessed by the child. We are getting out of this house.
It's like, this is actually kind of weirdly partly closer to Beetlejuice than it is Sixth Sense. It is, because that's what this is the outcome that they wanted. They want their house left alone. They live in this in-between plane. The limbo. This limbo that they're in.
Which is kind of like a weird thing. Like, it's interesting, and I'm still trying to like kind of trying to figure out what Alejandro was trying to say. Because through this movie, a big thing, especially in the 1940s, religion is a big part. And it's like more Catholicism than Christianity, it feels like. But the children are being told to read the Bible. They're reciting the Bible. The mother is like, Grace is teaching them, you know, the morals of like being honest and to not deny Christ, and that even in like, you know, don't deny Christ even if it's, you know, to kill you, you know?
Yeah.
And that, you know, children who lie go to a special limbo, and like, what are the four hells? And lo and behold, through all of this, it's revealed at the end, it's like, they've been dead this whole time, but she's talking about like, when you die, where do you go? They're there. They're stuck there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much kind of like, and even like Anne asks their mother, like, well, I thought when we died, you know, we'd go somewhere. And then Grace and Nicole Kidman's like, I know just as much as you do. I don't know why we're still here. And it's kind of this like weird acceptance of like the teachings of religion are moot. It means nothing. Because the afterlife that they expected or that they've been taught is not that. And now they are stuck in this house.
Yeah. Well, still kind of in the limbo that was briefly discussed for a little bit, but not under the teachings that was Grace.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or that the teachings that Grace was regurgitating to her children that she had known. I mean,
because the limbo that they talk about in the movies, the children who lie go to the center of the earth where it's hot.
Yeah.
And like none of the other four hells three of the four hells that they talk about is you being a fucking spirit stuck in the house you died in.
Yeah.
You know, being stuck in a material plane, you know, as an astral projection pretty much, you know?
Yeah. Well, and it's just like, and it's just, I mean, a lot of it, to me, I don't know if this is the message. I didn't see anything about it, but it still had this kind of feeling of some kind of narrative on mental illness. And, you know, I mean, obviously the whole ghost thing is unfinished business. You know, she wanted a second chance with her children. She wanted to see her husband again. All of that did kind of happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day. But even then, it's like the whole her walking around and closing the door, locking it to open another door. Yes, there was the reason of her kids having this kind of this photo sensitivity, light will kill them thing.
Yeah.
But it also felt very OCD.
Yeah.
Very compulsive behavior.
It was a controlling thing.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing, is that she wants to have control what's happening in this house, but she no longer has control of the house because now she is dead.
Yeah.
And so things have to spiral out of control from her control. So you're not wrong on like the OCD thing.
Yeah, well, I guess it's more that's just me projecting what I saw into it, because I didn't find anything specifically saying like this movie is about blank from the director. But.
Yeah, I don't think I think that's stuff you can kind of like dip into, because like, for a woman to like snap and murder her children and then take her own.
Oh yeah, sorry, forgot to mention that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she kills her kids.
She commits the big sin that, there's kind of maybe a minute conversation with herself about kind of this being a punishment. Oh no, it's actually God's blessing giving her a second chance kind of moment. But yes, in a dark spot, she committed murder-suicide. She killed her children, realized what she did, had a kind of like, from her recollection, a blackout moment. Just next thing she knew, she was standing in her children's room and they were dead. And then she killed herself. And the next thing
she used to get migraines.
Yeah. And then next thing she knows, she hears laughing in the bedroom. She walks in there and it's like nothing ever happened.
Her kids are playing with the pillows.
And then the kind of looping now Groundhog Day delusion of when is daddy coming back sets in.
And when dad does appear,
that was heart-wrenching. Yeah, that was a cool scene, because he comes back and he looks shell-shocked still. And you kind of find through like this conversation and dialogue that he was almost like a free-floating spirit to come back to his home to say goodbye to his family with the intention of then leaving.
To go back to
the front, which is also an interesting concept, because you're like, okay, he says that, but it's one of those I think it's open to infer. It's like, is he stuck? Is his spirit stuck just like they are in the place he died? And he got almost like this pass to go through and give his final farewells? Or was he just saying the front and he's actually going to ascend or descend, I guess?
Because the way that he responds to seeing his family in the afterlife, and he's kind of, I believe, aware that he's dead.
Yeah.
And, when he's like, sometimes I bleed.
Yeah.
And then Anne telling him what Grace did. And he's like, tell me what happened that night. Be honest with me. And she can't, she
doesn't remember.
Yeah. So it's kind of more, he's like stuck between these like two.
Well, actually, what is she talking about in that scene?
I forget.
She's apologizing for something, because first she's apologizing for what had just happened in the night before, and he's like, I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
And then she kind of deflects the conversation.
Yeah.
And then they have ghost sex.
Yeah. Hey, ghost sex.
They have the translucent hanky-panky.
But could you imagine being the coming in, walking in on that as the people that own the house? Like, whoa, what the fuck?
What, invisible sex?
Yeah, just two ghosts having sex on the bed.
Well, what would you see?
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
They're invisible, so just sheets.
Well, no, because sometimes the kid would actually see they would actually see the people sometimes.
Well, no, you mean Victor?
Yeah.
Victor only saw a little girl, and I think it was because the little girl was more open into it.
Fair.
Already, you know what I mean? She was already kind of in the middle.
Yeah, just sheets moving and then some.
Well, because the mother only mentions seeing the little
some
girl.
ectoplasm splits out.
Back to the reality of the movie. The mom only mentions that Victor's ever seen the little girl.
Yeah,
and I think it's because they have some kind of.
But okay, so regardless of the ghost sex, though, you have this like crazy moment where Grace starts to be like, you would rather go off, you don't love me, you'd rather be off at war. I did something wrong. But he's having this realization and this like choice of like what can live between these two hells. Mm-hmm. In the house that I now have to live with the fact that my wife killed my two kids, and I have to exist in that ghost reality, or I can go back to the war and just constantly live on that beach or wherever he died, reliving that moment, maybe, you know? And what is a worse hell for him?
But I mean, it's also with like the whole fog thing. I'm wondering if it really is a choice, or is it like always going to pull you back there?
Like the fog itself is pulling him back?
Yeah. Like,
I think that's reaching too much into something that's not necessarily said in the film.
Well, yeah, but what you even just said too, it's like
you can infer a thing with that with his performance though. And the way that he's talking, he's like, what did you do with the kids? And then as she's breaking down, he starts breaking down. And you can see something is like there's a choice that he's having to make. And then in the morning, he's gone.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a choice. I didn't get that vibe. That's just the thing. It's like even when you're saying you can infer, I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't, again, specifically said. Because also just the whole, like, why are the servants at the house? They've been at that house. They never left. And even then, there's that moment where Grace is leaving and the fog's getting thicker and thicker. So I'm kind of wondering that because, you know, when she says, you've been gone, where have you been this whole time? And he's like, I was looking for home. I think that the way I infer it is that once you leave your place of death, you are just wandering around in the fog.
Yeah.
So that's what he was doing. That's why it took him so many years to get there again, because he was this, which is kind of a really cool concept. And cool is a weird word for it. It's really sad and depressing for the idea.
It's actually kind of a common concept of like afterlife that
but with the visualization of it,
you know
what I mean. And then the fact that she's getting to the point where it's like she can't see 2 feet in front of her, and it's just like this, you know, this wailing spirit looking for home.
And
again,
these two kindred spirits that are kind of weirdly searching for each other.
Yeah.
You know, kind of maybe like they're drawn and summoned to each other in this weird plane of non-existence.
Yeah. This the in-between.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, he's making a lot of noise.
He's licking everything today.
He's making a lot of noise. Okay. You good? Cool.
I mean, really just kind of like the biggest thing in this movie is like, yeah, it's, you know, ghosts, ooh, they're dead, ha! But like, I feel like Alejandro is a type of director that he does want to have a message. Like, you know, he's trying to say something. And I think a big thing that he was trying to explore in this is really just like the uncertainty of our afterlife and kind of like, I think it's just kind of like you know, maybe not an exploration of that, but the choices we make as the living will affect how we are dead. Maybe. I don't know. The whole religion thing, the uncertainty of like of where death is, you know, what happens after death, but then like the certainty of it, we see it like, you know, depicted.
Well, yeah, and then I thought something that was kind of interesting too was that they do, you know, in dialogue at the end talk about how the housekeeper, Miss Tully, or what? No, that's Miller. Miss Tully's the other one. Tullett is the other one. Mrs. Miller is talking about that, you know, it's kind of a play on the living and the dead need to learn to live together.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she is basically explaining that there will be times that people are going to live here and we will not be aware of them.
Yeah.
So they do, it's almost that they live in this pocket dimension in between, where I just thought that was really interesting, where it's like they're in this time loop and only sometimes, just like it really was just a ghost story in reverse, you know, kind of flipped on its head. And I thought that was cool, kind of thing of just living in this in between where they also, they're being haunted. They just don't know it, but they're being haunted by the living.
Yeah. And I guess that's maybe more what Alejandro was searching for. And then while he was writing the story of, well, let's inverse the ghost story. Well, what are the things that these people in 1945 would be discussing? And then that kind of opens doors and explores other themes of religion and whatnot. And that just happens to be just like some more, you know, dressing on top of the salad.
Well, yeah, and then even having the house as empty as it is,
Yeah.
you could infer that the house used to be filled with furniture and stuff, but they died, so they took everything out. Or even Grace with her kind of OCD high-strungness, and almost she has like a Christian minimalist kind of vibe to her at moments, that maybe the house was just always like that, and it was only the...
I mean, it was a really big house. How much stuff do you think they had before they moved in?
I don't know. I mean, they have a whole junk room full of stuff, but there's nothing in... You know what I mean? There's nothing in the house.
Yeah.
They have the junk room, which for those of you that don't know...
There is actually a good amount of stuff in the house, because they start going through the rooms. Like, there's like 2 kids' playrooms with like a lot of toys and like stuff. And then everything else is just kind of more just furnished with just like...
Well, no, there's the attic room with the servants.
Yeah.
The shed we never see. There's Grace's room.
Yeah. Kids' room.
There's the foyer, which there's nothing in there. There's the room in the...
What do you mean
piano.
like there's nothing in there?
There's no arch. There's no... It looks empty.
But I mean, there's still like a table. There's still chairs. There's still...
A minimalist amount. Things
Yeah.
that to me that like look like they were left. They just weren't taken. You know what I mean? Because even the piano room, the only thing in there...
I mean, there's also a sense of like everything... Like every room must remain dark. So like why... What is the point of having a lot of stuff in there? Like, or art... Or the less stuff to run into.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, it's fair. But at the same time, it's like I think it could go. It was a good decision. Could go either way.
I think it was just more of like that. It create a sense of emptiness for the spookiness of it.
Well, yeah, and also empty because they're dead and they took all their shit out of there.
But did they? Like, there's still that. But the kids. They still see the reality of the house they lived in. Like, did you not see at the very end after the seance when like it fades out from like the table that's in the middle, it fades back into the kids' room and what they see as the family in their house.
Well, yeah, but I think isn't that the pocket dimension kind of thing?
Well, yeah,
That's
but
the
so then that
spirit
means
world
the
they're
entire
living in.
house would be furnished with their stuff. Stuff wasn't taken by the servants or anybody. They still see the house furnished with their stuff.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I like mine better. He's stuck over there.
He's just between my legs. Don't worry about it. Okay. This is the most vocal he's been in a recording session. He's gotten too used to us just sitting around talking.
Yeah.
And us paying attention to him as well. Anywho. I'm kind of at a blank of stuff to...
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to talk about this movie because it's very atmospheric.
Let's talk about the jump scares, the scary moments.
I mean, sure. What about them, though? I mean,
I don't know.
Just jump scares.
Well, they're not really... let's see. The door getting slammed in her face is kind of a jump scare. But it's not like I feel like the jump scares aren't your traditional jump scares because of the way that it's actually... They're built really well. Because the whole thing is like... Especially at this point, Grace thinks that the house is... there's intruders in the house. And she's refusing that it's ghosts. And then she eventually refuses that there's intruders. But she's like opening and closing this door. And I could just imagine like on the other side of it, the humans, the live people just seeing this door go, wah, 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 wah. And they finally like, close this damn door. And it slams in her face.
Yeah.
Which sends her like, jumping back.
Well, that's that whole thing. That's why I think this is definitely a movie watched twice. Once from the perspective of Grace, and then once under the guise of what are the other people seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not really. It's and that's the thing too. It's not really jump scares in the sense of something coming out at you. It's kind of more doors opening, and again, the movie's very atmospheric and quiet.
Yeah, it's a slow build of tension until like something happens where you're just like, what is fucking happening?
Just a heads up, it's still very much mixed for theater, so it suddenly gets really, really loud. Just if you decide to watch it on a quiet night, when the big flare-ups happen, it's real.
Like,
it's really in your face. It's pretty jarring. But you could tell it was made for the
surround
theater,
sound,
like the surround sound and everything.
But like, it's even like with that when you see Anne possessing, the old woman, And like that's a terrifying scene. Just to, all of a sudden this little girl is now an old woman.
Well, yeah, an old woman that has also that her daughter had done a depiction of.
Yeah.
With the hair and the eyes and
it's like, yeah, this is the number of times I've seen these people.
Well, and that's what it is too. It's the confirmation to Grace that something is happening. But then with the dad coming back, it kind of derails this progression, And that's really what it is too. A lot of the story is just about denial, because Grace is just in this she's stuck. She's stuck in this purgatory, in this in between, and for some reason, and I was kind of interested, maybe it's just, I don't know, they didn't really get into it, which is fine, they don't have to, but why these other ghost servants that had died 50 years prior had now gotten involved. And I just don't know if it's because they've also been haunting it and they're now like, well, we're going to be stuck with these people. So
I think that's kind of what it is.
Like, yeah, but I don't know why, as opposed to, I guess my question is, why break the illusion? Like, just let her keep having the illusion. But then this stuff starts happening, like the curtains and
yeah. I mean, the illusion is going to have to break eventually because there's intruders in the house.
Well, yeah, but it's like also Grace is going so wackadoodle that the people end up moving out anyways. I feel like that'd be my move. Yeah, let her freak out. She'll freak out the living. They'll leave, and maybe the next ones come in. They won't notice her here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but eventually there's always going to be more that appear.
Yeah. Talking about 50 years. What else you got to do as a ghost? Wait. I don't know.
I mean, for them, it could be... It might be 50 years in real life. We don't know the pocket dimension.
No, what I'm saying is that, like, well, I'm talking about the average life expectancy for people at that time.
I feel like at a certain point she's going to realize her kids aren't aging.
No, I don't think she would.
Yeah.
No, because the delusion would reset.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it would just feel she would, even then when she's like sitting there, like, I feel like I'm getting cut off from the world. It's like you are. But you're so stuck in this delusion that you're not, time isn't, because it's the day in, day out thing. It must have been pretty short after.
I think,
they must have just recently died.
The best way to look at it is the dressing, how the people in the seance were dressed, which was still late 40s, maybe early 50s. Because the dude looked like Howard Stark from the MCU. And she was dressed in that, like, maybe 1960s, maybe 1960s.
No, not the car they drove.
Okay, and that was the other thing, is I couldn't remember the car.
Yeah, the car, no. It was earlier than that. But it's kind of fun about it, too, to sit here and talk about it, is because the fact that we are living in this kind of looping situation. Not looping, that's not right. It's not like Groundhog Day, but we're in this weird pocket of time. So even like when she goes back to the mailbox...
Yeah.
And is like, this letter was never picked up. How did you find out that I needed servants? And they're like, oh, we just happened to be here. She just kind of goes, okay. Which you're like, no.
Well, and that's kind of like another...
But she grabs the letter.
Yeah.
And is like, they should have taken this. But then even then you're like, well, we don't know exactly how this works. Is this actually the letter? Or is this kind of a weird projection ghost thing that she's doing?
Well, that's kind of the red herring of this film as well, is... Mrs. Miller and like the housekeepers and whatnot that are there, is you slowly get these little like crumbs of like, oh, they're hiding gravestones. Oh, they know something that the family doesn't know. Oh, like it's like leading to this fact that, oh, maybe they are ghosts and they're terrorizing this poor family. Mm-hmm. Until you finally realize, like, oh no, like they've been protecting them from the truth until they can find the time to accept it and realize it.
Well, yeah, but the only thing too about that, I would just say from a filmmaking writing standpoint, is that was only because like you were kind of talking about how these ghosts are. Or first, they appear to be the villain, and then they take it back. They kind of they're trying to bury the lead to us.
Yeah.
But even with the writing, they choose to make them say some really villainous stuff to us, the audience, because it's just us watching them interact, and you're kind of like, who talks like that? about this situation. Like she walks out and she's very like, I can't remember what she says, but the way she says it, and she's just very, it's very, I'm done playing games kind of thing. And you're like, what are you going to do? And knowing that they're just trying to help them come to terms with their grief and understand, it was just a kind of a weird moment to be like, oh, they haven't been villains at all the whole time. They've been trying to help, but there are moments in dialogue where you're like, that's a really kind of spooky way to say that. Like you could have been a little more incognito.
Well, I mean, but that's, you have to write it that way to do the mislead.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But it just didn't feel natural because she sounded like a fucking Disney villain for a second.
A lot of just, I don't know. It's kind of hard to kind of like, because she's from 1891. So
yeah, they died in 1891.
So the way that she talks is going to be completely different. And because even the way that Grace talks is completely different than the way that we talk today, because it's 1945.
Yeah.
So you just got to also, I always just kind of took that as like a time period difference. Like, yeah, they sound like a goofy Disney villain because that's how fucking people talked in 1891.
But it isn't even the goofy. I just meant even because even the music changed. It was like the whole, it felt like we're starting to learn of the bad guy's plot. Because the music even would say dramatic music, starts off. And it's just, I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting choice.
No.
I thought it was confusing. That's all.
It's meant to be. It's meant to mislead you. Make you think one way. And then smack you in the face when it's like, oh.
I don't like getting smacked in the face.
Yeah.
No, not particularly.
Well, then stop watching movies that mislead you. I'm kind of at a blah blah. We're at like 56 minutes, so 57.
Okay. Yeah, I got nothing really else to say about it.
It's a good movie.
What do you want to rate it?
3.5.
I was gonna say 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah. Okay. Put it in the thing.
So we gave Frighteners a 3, right?
I believe, yeah, we gave Frighteners a 3. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a cool, quiet, gothic mystery ghost story, and again, it's a fun for a rewatch.
I think that's going to be a thing that I kind of think of even the next two films we're doing. I think that's a common theme inside of ghost stories, is for them to be kind of like mystery,
Yeah.
Well, they say, why is there a haunting? What is happening? Who is the haunting? Whoa. Scooby-Doo. I would have gotten away with 2 if it wasn't for you stupid kids and your goddamn dog.
Because what are we doing next week?
The Haunting.
And then what's after that?
The Ring.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because even like The Ring, too.
There's a mystery.
Yeah.
It's like a journalistic ghost story.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's always a mystery to it.
And a good ghost story has like a good mystery to it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's kind of like the common trope in a lot of things. Like, if you can solve, like, why are they haunting? Well, if we find out if
the unfinished business.
Yeah, unfinished. Yeah, we find out who killed them or what they did, then we can let their souls rest.
Well, and it's like this movie the Others.
Oh, that kind of does that movie does this movie does the inverse as well with that. Mm-hmm. Then
the Others made me want to watch Crimson Peak.
I still need to see that. I don't really know anything about it.
I don't know why. And that's kind of why I wanted to watch it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you watch something and it's like it's close enough. It's period piece and it's some kind of haunting. It's close. But I was like, I remember being really different than this. But I want to watch it just to go. Yeah. What made me think of this movie? Because that movie is bizarre.
Fair. But I just thought about like another like inverse that Alejandro did in this is that sense of like in your general ghost story, be like, well, once the ghosts know what happened and they can find solace in their stuff, they disappear and move on into the completion of the afterlife. They're not stuck in the material plane anymore. Mm-hmm. They fucking figure it out and accept it. Like, oh, she's like, oh, fuck, I killed you kids. I'm sorry. And like holding them and crying and stuff. But then it's like, we just haunt this house now.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if
So
you...
it's like it's like in the inverse of like what generally happens in a ghost story too, which isn't. So it's not. There's a weird like acceptance from grace and a weird kind of happy ending, quote unquote.
I mean, as happy, I guess, as you can get for a double murder suicide.
Yeah, right. But yeah.
Well, I mean, but you could, if you wanted to, you could have a topic conversation of that's just how it is. You know, the spirits, the energy that makes the spirit transfers over and gets stuck because energy does not. It just goes from one point to another. You know, you do that. And so it's like this weird, you know, loophole in our afterlife conversation. Or you could say it's a punishment.
Yeah.
She is in purgatory. She is in a limbo for killing your children.
You have to live in this house with your children.
That you murdered. So that's your punishment. Or it could be what Grace said, and it was a blessing from God to get a second chance to...
Well, she says that, and she's like, that's what I thought it was. Because she didn't... Yeah, she thought, but she as that the not thinking like, oh, I'm dead and I get to spend the rest of eternity with my children. It's I didn't do anything. Nothing happened actually. I was delusional, and my kids are still alive, and I'm still alive. Mm-hmm. But now it's kind of like it's. She was saying she thought she was given a second chance.
Yeah, but I mean,
but she wasn't given a second chance. She is dead.
Yeah, but no, she had a second chance. What she said was she had a second chance at being a good mother, which she does now have forever.
Yeah.
So it's just really like, you don't know. I mean, the whole fucking quote is he works in mysterious ways. You could make an argument that that's the blessing. So it's kind of like, that's what's kind of cool about it, though. It's kind of more...
So you commit murder, suicide, and get a second chance.
Yeah, but stuck in a creepy, empty house with 3 other way deader ghosts for eternity, but they still can make you tea. That's nice. That's a nice upside to it. They can still make you tea. I did like that too. I liked that there is this kind of weird metaphysical realm that they're able to interact with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not like some fucking goofy Frighteners or Beetlejuice thing where they make, you know, they suddenly have, and I got a cup of coffee now. You know, it's not like that. It's like there is this, she can crochet and she can pick up the letters and she can open and close the curtains and doors and stuff. But it's like, there's just, I don't know. I just thought the whole idea of living in this ghost, like the ghosts live in this weird little bubble. And then every now and then we just intersect, you know, and it was a really cool way of visually representing that. Yeah. Because of the fact you always see it from the living human perspective, and you just see the, you know, the ghost suddenly walk by in the empty room and then they're gone. Yeah. It was kind of cool to see it from their perspective. And it was, or like Insidious. You know, we finally go into the spirit realm and it's dark and foggy and sad and creepy and everyone's...
You can't tell a sense of distance at all.
Yeah, you know, and I was like, yeah, that's cool for that movie because that's the vibe of the movie. But it was cool to kind of see that the afterlife is really boring. You know, yeah. Like, I don't know why, but I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, yeah, it's Risk Cutters, a love story. It's, you know, like, yeah, I like that kind of mundane idea of the afterlife. And it's like, nah, it's just the same shit, but now you just can't leave. Yeah, that sucks. But I don't know. Yeah, it was a very pleasant rewatch. All right, then. You will touch him, goddammit. Right. But yeah, so that was The Others, episode 210, second episode of our spooky season for this year, this October. Yeah. We're doing The Haunting next. Yes. Which I've never seen.
I haven't seen since I was like high schoolish. Yeah. It has Liam Neeson, and I can never remember the woman's name.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Oh yeah, she's in it too.
Those are the only 2 people I know.
She's not the lead.
No, but she's on the cover.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. That's where we put most of our promo posts. So just follow that. Click on those, and on there will be a link tree. You can click on that, and it will show you where we do all of our stuff. All of our stuff is on pretty much everywhere that you watch podcasts. So Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all that kind of thing. So just go ahead and give a like, subscribe, and we will be with you next week for episode 211.
Not
The
311. Not 311.
Not 311.
The band.
This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy
Jacob's
Jacob's mixtape. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.